The battle ends. Lee's defeated army retreats. Meade's exhausted army is slow to pursue. The rebels escape to Virginia to fight again. The war will continue. In Gettysburg on the 4th of July, 1863, no toasts are offered, no fireworks, no parades, no services. Buildings fill with wounded, piles of limbs dripping blood, the dying, the dead. The land itself seems to wail. Horror, hell on earth. Dead men barely covered in shallow graves, close to 10,000. Gettysburg is the greatest man-made disaster in American history. It is now historic ground. Land is purchased on Cemetery Hill to create a new Soldiers' National Cemetery. This is the place where Abraham Lincoln must come and explain why this war must go on. Lincoln is invited for the November 19th cemetery dedication, asked to deliver a few appropriate remarks. Lincoln's train from Washington arrives at Gettysburg the day before the dedication. At the Wills House in the town square, he finishes his speech. In November 1863, the cemetery is barren, a muddy field of freshly dug graves, almost no trees. Winter is nearing. The crowd covers this hill. Lincoln stands up. He speaks.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth,